It says live up here. Is that what it's supposed to do? All right. All right. So, hi, this is Phil from the ATM Mastermind Group page and PDQ Merchant Enterprises. And we go live every other Monday. Today is September 6th. And so, Labor Day. So, we're going live today. Hope all you guys are out there. Had a great Labor Day weekend. The weather here in Chicago was very hot. But you know what? It's the last of the last, and pretty soon the snow is going to be flying and it's going to be cold, and people are complaining, it's so cold in the snow. I'm tired of the snow. I want warmer weather. So we are enjoying the warm weather. This is probably the last of the last until we get what we call an Indian summer, which is usually mid-September or early October. We usually get 2 or 3 days, sometimes 4, that are in the 80s, and it's nice. So we get the be outside in shorts, and it's the last of the last. And one time we had that at Halloween. I remember kids, we were trick-or-treating. It was 75 degrees trick-or-treating, and on Halloween. It was it happens about 1 every 15 years. Hopefully this is the year it happens again. I'm very excited about it, but so much for the weather. All right, so today's topic is, how much money do I really need for the ATM business? A lot of people ask us, hey, how much money do I need? I want to start an ATM business. I don't know how much I need. Can I just put in a couple $100 in ATM? All right. So you got to figure like this. If you're going to buy an ATM, figure around, it's around $3,000 right now. ATMs have went up and up and up from inflation. They've raised the price of the ATM. We used to be able to get an ATM for right around $2,200. Now they're closer to $3,000. So I just want to let you guys prepare you guys. How much is an ATM? ATM is about $3,000. Now, okay, great, Phil, I got that. But you know what? How much money do I need to put in the ATM? When do I get my money back? All right. So what we like to tell our students is that, you know what, start your ATM with $3,000. Now, can you start with less? Yeah, you can. But what you want to try to do is you want to try to get from what I consider, let's say, collection period or fill period to fill period. How long is that going to be? I don't know. I just base it on a week. All right. So that's where I try to start out. In the beginning, truth be told, it's going to be a little slower. People aren't used to having their ATM. And people aren't used to having an ATM at the location. So it's going to take a little bit of time to gravitate. So they know, they change their habits and their patterns. And I always book for somewhere between 60 days and 180 days, which is 2 months to 6 months before a true pattern starts. It depends on the location and how often the people come in the location. But that's what I try to give it at least 6 months in a location. And then if the ATM isn't going as well as I like to, then I got to make a decision that either I move it or I keep in the location and then look for another location, and then we move it. All right. So now what I do is I pay $3,000 for the ATM, and then I put $3,000 in the ATM. Now, how long is that going to last? Well, it depends on the traffic. So how do you figure that out? Well, I'm going to give you averages so you guys can have an idea. What we're always looking for is 100 transactions a month. All right. And the average ATM transaction is about $60. So that's $60 times 100 is 6,000. Now, if I go once a week, then I can just take that 3,000 and it'll recycle and recycle and recycle. If I go every 2 weeks, that 3,000 will last me 2 weeks. If I do more than 100 transactions, then it will do less. So at 100 transactions, and they're taking $60 out, I'm looking at about $1,500 a week will go through my ATM. That'll give me time that I don't have to go on once a week, but I could go every 2 weeks to location. Now, that if I'm figuring, okay, I'm going to go about every 10 days, that'll give me a little fluff because maybe I don't hit it. And I always encourage you guys not to go on the same time, the same date every week, but try to keep in your head, I'm looking at probably every week, so every 7 to 10 days. So let's just say it is 10 days. That'll give me it'll be about $2,000, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little less where it is. I'm going to go to the bank, get my $2,000 back, put it in an ATM, and now I'm back up to my par value, which is 3. And then I got another 10 days. If the ATM does more than 100 transactions, then it's going to be less. So it might be closer to a 7-day mark. So that's how you're going to figure out what your ATM is going through. Now, keep in mind, again, like I said, that ATM in the beginning is going to be a little slower. And then as you get the season more in the location, it's going to be a little less. So that means you're going to have to go there more often. So let's say it comes back to once a week. Now, all right. So now, okay, Phil, I kind of got that $60 a transaction. I'm looking for 100 transactions. 60 times 100 is 6,000. All right. So in a given amount of time, depending on how often I go to the location, is about how much I'm gonna have to fill it. And then, well, what am I gonna make? Okay, we're looking at, these are averages. Okay, some do better, some do worse. Okay, I'm making $2.50 transactions, $250. All right, I'm gonna make $250. I go there once every 2 months. So those are kind of the averages of an ATM. Now, some do better. We got ATMs that go through thousands and thousands of dollars every week, and we got ATMs that hit those averages that I was talking about. So it just depends on what kind of ATM you got, and is it busy, and is it enough for you to be happy with that location. All right. So that's how you figure out. Now, okay, so I'm going to give you guys a little nugget tonight. All right, so hey, I want to get in a mobile ATM game. I don't know how to do it. How do I figure it out? So here's just a very basic rule of thumb. You're talking to a mobile event, okay? Mobile events, they take out more money than they do a regular. Most of the time when you're at a grocery store or a convenience store or a liquor store, people come in, they take out $60, usually just enough to get them by to whenever they want to go. Now, on a mobile, it's a different mindset. So what they do is they take out usually for the event. So now you're looking at instead of $60, you're looking at closer to $100. Let's just say $100 for argument's sake. It's usually a little less, somewhere between 80 and 100. But let's just say for argument's sake, well, how many people are going to be at the event? So I always ask, hey, you're going to event. How many hours is the event? And they say, oh, well, we're here Friday. Friday, we expect 5 to 10,000. We're here from 3 in the afternoon to midnight. Saturday, it's 12 to 12. And Sunday, it's 12 to 6. So I'm thinking, okay, well, how many people are going to be there? And they say, well, I'm expecting 20,000 for the whole festival, probably five on Friday, 10,000 on Saturday, and probably 5,000 on Sunday. Okay. So what I do is I figure out for every 5,000 people, you're going to need, every 5,000 people, you're going to get about 100 transactions. So in this event, they figure 20. I'm looking at 400 transactions for this event. I usually do it at $5 a piece. So I'm going to make I'm going to make $2,000 on that event. Now, what's the how much are they going to take out? Well, okay, they're going to do 5,000 people. Every 5,000 is going to be 100 transactions. So, and 100 transactions are going to take $100. So every 5,000, I'm going to need $10,000 for the ATM. Now, now keep in mind, if you got one ATM, you're going to need 10,000 times 4. You need 40,000 for that event. That would okay. But if you got two ATMs, you can split that money between the two. You're not going to need more money. You're just going to need to split it. The challenge is when you run 2 or more, you will have to say, okay, where's going to be my popular ATMs? When you usually do a mobile ATMs, the gate is one, and then the beer tent, and then sometimes they want a third one somewhere else or a fourth one somewhere else. Where's the popular one? The gate is always usually the popular one, and by the beer, those are the two real popular ones. Sometimes they got a front entrance, they got a back entrance. I ask them always, where's the more popular one when I first do a first-time event? Usually they'll tell me, hey, 90% of people coming here. We have a spare over there. We're running tickets. We don't take credit cards. So they got to tell us which one is more. The reason I ask that is because I want to know where to put the money. I never did the event. I got to know where to load the money heavier. Now, if you're filling in the ATM, you take the money out at night, then you can repopulate your ATM, and hey, the beer did a little bit more than I thought. I got the back gate. It's not that much. So we're going to concentrate on the front gate in the beer tent. The back one is not so much, but so that's where you're going to split your money. But if you got one ATM, are you going to put $40,000 in ATM? No, you're only going to do it to get through the end of the day. So figure on $10,000 is what I'm going to do. I figured 5,000 the first day. The second day, I'm figuring more like $20,000. An ATM will hold $20,000, and then I'm looking at that throughout the day. Now, on an event like we just discussed, they say they're going to have 20,000 or 20,000 people. I'm going to probably put 2 ATMs there because I want to make sure that the ATM is covered, and I want to make sure that if one goes down, I want to make sure that that's going to be up and running for the whole event. So I want to make sure that it's right. All right. So that's how you figure out, and you're going to need some fluff money in there, which is spare money in case they hit it a little heavier. Instead of doing $100 transaction, they go up to 100, let's say 120. I got to have that extra money. So not everybody's going to take out 100. Some people are going to take 20. I love the $20 people. They're my favorite because it costs them $5 to take out 20. I make money and we don't get the ATM beat up. But at the same time, I just got to cover my bases. And that's how you cover your bases, is by having enough money for the event. Okay. And also when you do a mobile event, always make sure you can get in there in case the ATM goes down, or you need to add more money. Maybe you misjudged it and you ran out of money, or you're getting low. You got to make sure that that ATM is going to be there full of money, or you won't get the contract next time. All right. Well, that's how you figure that out. Now, so let's go back to, you have a route. Okay, you got your first ATM. Phil, you told me put 3,000. Now I'm getting a second ATM. You come up with another 3,000. Yes, but you can say, okay, well, on location number 1, I got 3,000. Then when you put in location number 2, you put that at 3,000. But let's say on the first location, you go there once, you go there every other week, and then the opposite week, you go to this location. So when you go to your bank account, you're taking some of that money, you put it into the location A, and then the next week you take some of that money, you put in location B. So therefore, you don't necessarily need, or you can manage it a little bit tighter. Instead of having 3,000 for each ATM, maybe you can get it where, hey, I got 2,500 because I'm going to put 3,000 in this ATM, and then this ATM starts at 3, and by the time we get to the end of the week, maybe it's at 2. Now this ATM over here was at 1. I'm going to take that 2 and I'll put it in. So let's say I got 2,001 and I got 3,001, and 2 and 3 is 5 instead of 6. So when you have multiple ATMs, you don't necessarily have to have that 3,000. I like to use that as a par value. And what's a par value? It's the average. So I like to use that so you can facilitate your route and make sure that it's all the right way. However, you just got to be conscious of how much money you got in the street, and that's what you really need. So when you're looking at, hey, I'm going to expand to another location, what do I need? And excuse me, I'm going to take a little drink of water. And what you need is you need to manage your route, and how you manage your route is say, okay, in my head, I'm going to say every ATM, I got 10 ATMs, it's $30,000 on the street for ATMs. Now you can do it with a little less, but then it's going to increase your amount that you have to go to the location. So in the ATM business, we're constantly managing the money, and we're constantly managing the equipment. Make sure it's the right equipment, make sure it's up to date, make sure everything is right. All right. So I took some notes because I want to make sure that you guys are right. All right. So now here's something that plays a factor, and maybe that you guys can do is you want to, let's say, scrimp a little, or I don't know if that's the right word, but you want to minimize some of your cash exposure on the street. What you also want to do is you want to look at your ATMs, because there's seasonalities to the ATMs. Sometimes we have locations that they're summer locations, so they go through more money in the summer. Maybe they're on a lake, maybe they're by a campground, maybe they're on a busy road. In the summer, because we pick up a lot of there's the biker community. They're out, a lot of people, they're riding their motorcycles, they're out, and we get a big influx because we're north of Chicago in country towns, and those bars and a lot of those convenience stores and grocery stores, I don't know what, but the number goes up in the summertime. I think a lot of people are out, or they're gonna in the grocery stores, they're planning backyard picnics or whatever, but they go up in the summer. And so some of our locations, their best times are May, June, July, August, and September. I don't know necessarily why, but that's what I suspect. They have bike runs, they have backyard parties. Sometimes the bars are doing some outside bands and some activities that are outside, and people go to those places, and when they're at those places they need more money. So everything is working out. Now we have other locations that, you know what, they don't do so great in the summer. They're more of a winter place, so they basically they start their business that starts to rock and roll in September. Their summer, their May, June, July, August, they're not so much. They're not so great. So their business is more in the fall. So you got to have a nice mix. So what does all that mean? Okay, Phil, you're telling me other stories. The reason I'm telling you this story is because you don't necessarily need to keep let's say on an average, if we're using this average, $3,000 in that ATM during if it's a slow place. You're going to pull some of those resources. You're going to put them into some places that are busy. Like I said, the water places, these places with these people, they go on their motorcycle, they have outdoor parties. So in the summer, we're going to take some of those places that are more of a winter place. We're going to take some of those funds and we're going to put them in a summer place to take that revenue that goes round and round and round. And then from there, when the summer, when after Memorial Day or after Labor Day, the revenue goes down, then we're going to take some of that revenue and we're going to put it back into the winter places. Now we have some golf courses. We have the summer locations on the water. Those places tend to go down in the fall. And we're here in Illinois, so there is no golf. We're usually played after November. And if there is, it's very, very limited. All our golf leagues end in September. They start again in April. So we know that those transactions are going to go down, and then we take that extra money and we move it over towards some of the locations that do real well in the fall and in the winter. So we move. So we're constantly looking at our ATM round. We also do analysis and say, okay, fine. Look, this is ATM. You know what? We can short it $500 this fill time or another $1,000 because they're not going through the money. So we're constantly evaluating the money, constantly looking for what we need, and making sure that it is the right. It is right, and so that's what we constantly do. So not only do we put $3,000 in the ATM, what we also do is we manage the money to make sure that the ATM has the right amount of money to get through the fill period, and we usually give a fluff time of like 2 to 3 days. So I know if it's every eight days, we're gonna fill our ATM. I'm trying to get to 11 just in case, because sometimes there are spikes and anomalies into the business because of whatever it is. If it's if it's because maybe they got an outdoor party, or they got a celebration, or something happens, we try to make sure that we're there, or we have extra money in the ATM just in case of those anomalies. I don't run it razor thin. I give myself a 3-day fluff if we can't get to the location, or there's this party, because I don't want to run it. I don't want to run out of money because it makes us look bad. And the other thing is I don't want to have to run to the location because it is going out of money. Now, it does happen. We had some places that every year, and you know what? It just, I guess we get accustomed to it, but we do try to pay attention. Hey, they're having a benefit for this or that, and we try to ask our locations, please let us know that you're having a benefit. Some are wonderful and say, you know what, next week, Friday, we're going to have a benefit. So I just make sure that ATM is full because we're going to have a lot of people. They need money to, they have raffles, and they're going to need money for the raffles. And some, they don't tell us. And you know what, all of a sudden we set alerts on our ATM. So when they hit a certain threshold, they will hit and send us a text message and or an email that, hey, we're running low. So what we try to do is set those so we can so we don't get caught off guard. So when we see that an ATM is hit, let's say, a threshold, and we know that we just filled it 2 days ago, we know, hey, there's a benefit there or something. And then we could, what I call a hot-footed. I remember the cartoon. I don't know if Tex Martin is what it was, is where the wolf as he has a match in his foot and he calls it a hot-footed. So I hot-footed it into the foothills. So I just remember that as a kid. I remember I always laughed at that one. So I'm going to use it today. Hey, so we hot-footed over to the location. And when we get there, we fill the ATM up so they don't run out for their benefit, because we want to make sure that we did everything we could to help that location during their benefits for us. So I want to thank you guys for joining us today, taking time off on Labor Day to spend a little time with us today. If any of this was helpful, please leave it in the chat. And then also, if you can put some fire emojis, this was helpful. And don't forget, if you guys are interested in ATM business, we have a ATM masterclass that teaches you from A to Z how to be successful in the ATM business. For those of you guys who are thinking about getting in the ATM business, I appreciate you guys being part of the ATM Mastermind group. And thank you for watching us on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook. So thank you guys very much, and I appreciate it. And we will check you out on the next ATM Mastermind Live. And you know what? We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. And don't forget, 6 Central, we'll be back. Thank you.